Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. I'm your host, Brady Wilson, as always, with my co-host, Chase Olschwanger.
What's up?
And we will be without Zach Babb today. He just had some other stuff to do, so, no Stars coverage from him today, but, we're going to mention a few things about the Stars, and then, the Mavericks, and obviously the Cowboys, and then we got, some baseball team that's, one win away from the World Series. And again, we're recording this here at 2:30 on Wednesday, November 1st, so whenever you're listening to this, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, we could be champions. Next when you listen to this. Hopefully we're champions and we don't have to come back next week and how we almost blew it or we did blow it. I think that's what we're hoping for. So I'm going to start off with the Stars here. Great start for Dallas.
Yeah.
And Duchesne got his first goal. So I think that was big. He was kind of the big notable acquisition for us in the offseason. And they've just been playing really well. And it's been a little hard to pay attention because of the Rangers. It feels like they've been playing on the days the Rangers are playing. So once the season's over, I'll be able to give a lot more in-depth look. But, what have you been seeing?
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. It's been Rangers focus.
Yeah.
And, it's even taken away from the Mavs I'm watching. But, I know, Stars look great. As you said, Duchesne getting his first goal, would be, he only had, I believe, 1 or 2 points coming into the game.
Yeah.
So, little slow to start, but, it takes time. New environment, maybe some pressure there, and he's gonna get rolling.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff going on in hockey today. There's a lot of firings and some picks being taken away. So if Zach's able to join us next week, I'm sure we'll dive into that more. Sorry for kind of bare bones coverage for the Stars here, but we're gonna move to the Mavs. Luka has looked like a man on a mission this year.
Yeah.
He's looked like you said, the MVP earlier, and then it's just it looks like midseason Luka, because usually the problem with Luka has been it takes him a couple weeks to get going until he gets into midseason form. He's in form right now,
right?
And it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been a trend, in previous years where he starts off, in the first month of the season, shooting like 30% from three, but it gets up to 40 or not 40, but high 30s. But no, he's starting off on a tear right now.
Yeah.
The Mavericks in general starting off on a tear. The one of 3 teams left remaining undefeated. Mavs play tonight. And looking to keep the momentum going. But no, they look great. Luka is on a mission, like you said. He's looking for that first MVP. No Kyrie tonight, back-to-back games. That's about it. But other players are stepping up.
Yeah, Lively's look really good. Grant Williams, they've been talking about Williams and how much of an anchor he's been on defense for him, and how well he's looking. He's given some offensive production too. I think that it just feels like a more complete team. I feel like last year it was kind of a tiered team. It was you have your Luka, then you have your 2 or 3 really good role players, like this is before the Kyrie trade, and Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith, and I guess you could put Kleba in there. Then you had your kind of lower tier, just your bronze players, to put it in the gaming terms here. But it just was not very good. And then now it feels like you have a lot more balance from Luka and Kyrie as your stars, Williams, Derek Jones Jr., Lively, you have other guys that are contributing, and then you don't have as many lower tier contributors as you did last year, which I think is huge for you.
Right.
And you have a little more defense.
And Tim Hardaway Jr. is out here going 20 points a game right now.
And then he's been the most hot and cold player.
Of course, he's going to be that guy that's going to go 8 for 8 from 3, or he's going to go 2 for 12.
Yeah.
So there's no in between. But he looks good. The team looks good, and I'm excited. To have more focus in them once the MLB season is over.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's done tonight.
Yeah, hopefully it's done tonight. And I think that once, I remember last year, and we were talking about, is Jason Kidd really just a bad coach? Well, maybe he just needs. It sounds like he just needed that off season to get ingrained with the team, figure out what the team wants to do. It's just not going to be the name of our game. That's just not going to be what we do. But it looks better than it did last year.
Yes,
which is huge. So. And then, to move to the NBA here, big one, James Harden got dealt to the Clippers. Did not see that one coming. It was kind of out of left field. I know that there have been kind of some tenuous relationships with him and Daryl Morey, but it was still kind of the Clippers. Interesting. That would not have been one of the teams I would have thought. They're building a team that would have been good 8 years ago.
Yeah, well, the Clippers were, I think, his top target for sure, and that was the team going around. Where he was, find a potential destination.
If that team's fully healthy, they're definitely going to be interesting to watch.
That's the problem.
With Kawhi, PG, and Harden, and then I've always loved Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, of course, Westbrook.
With those 4 guys, and then who's their center?
Zubac.
Zubac. That's right. I'm like, I know him. I can't quite remember. That's a good starting 5.
Yeah, it is.
They're a good team. The problem is their They built the team that again would have been amazing 8 years ago when they were all healthy and young, and now you're just hoping you can get that production out of them. But it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, but no, it was a good trade definitely a great trade for the Clippers. They, gave up Nick Batum and a few other pieces here and there, but it wasn't. They didn't give up everything for him.
It felt like the Sixers kind of made the trade that the GM panics and has to do something and doesn't get what he really deserves out of the deal. And that's why you don't do what they've done, which is you hold on to the player until you get the deal you want. Kind of like what Portland did. Portland got a really good haul for Lillard, and then being able to trade,
for sure,
Holiday and get more. But now we're gonna move. Try to kind of quickly brush through that because now we're getting to the fun one.
Don't worry, there will be more. There will be more.
There will be a lot more talk because once baseball season ends, which will be next episode. Next episode, hopefully, if it's Rangers win, we won those series. That'll be the last big baseball segment. Then it'll turn to just your off-season segment. Who's getting signed, who's getting traded, who's not getting signed, what managerials openings are getting filled and what aren't, and stuff like that. It'll be more like MLB Network's Hot Stove show. It'll be more just kind of like, here's what I think. Da 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 da. But for right now, and I love the fact that we get to come on here and do this. A couple years ago, it would have been fun as a fan, but now I get to feel like I'm part of the media. I don't know about you. It's kind of fun to feel like you're part of this. The Texas Rangers are one win away from winning the World Series. Not something that I think me or you would have thought about back in the last day of March on opening day, or the second last day of March, whatever it was. And we were, man, I get to go to opening day. This is going to be awesome. What kind of year are we going to have? This is the year we turn it around. I remember that's why my family was, why do you want to go opening day? Well, I want to go to opening day because this is the year where it flips. We're not a bad team anymore. We're a really good team. We're going to win some baseball games. And it was just, I wanted to be able to say, oh, I was there the first year we turned it around. Was not expecting the turnaround to be a World Series potentially. I mean, that has been I think that's why it's hard to believe that we're actually this far. It's one of those, it doesn't feel real. I don't know about other Rangers fans out there, but it doesn't feel real because it didn't feel like this was our year. It feels like this was just, oh, look, we made it. Wow. I mean, we've just cut right through the playoffs. I mean, the Rays series felt like it was pretty quick, and the Orioles series felt like it was pretty quick, and then even the Astros series, which was a slugfest, felt like it was really quick. And now this one's feel like we're going at warp speed. And I'm like, whoa, I want to enjoy this. I want to enjoy the fact that we're in the World Series. It's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we can close it out. Obviously, we've dealt with some injuries. Adolis, the second he winced and he went and I texted you and was like, it's his oblique.
Yeah.
Son of a, had some choice words.
It's crazy. He still hit that 400 feet.
Because, I mean, you and again, that oblique, some people are like, well, it's not that. No, the oblique is the worst injury for a hitter.
Yeah.
Because you can't swing, and you can't really field because you can't throw and you can't do anything without, with an oblique injury. And then Scherzer's back tightened up. I mean, it does sound like it could have been because of the line drive.
Yeah.
It hit his elbow lower back and it started to tighten up and he had some spasms and it was just, Burke came in and
showed why he was not on the roster.
I mean, I don't know what happened to him. He was amazing last year. And this year, it could just be relief pitching being relief pitching. And next year, he'll come in and he'll have an ERA sub 250.
Yeah.
You just don't know if they bring him back. Clearly, I don't think Bochy trusts him.
I don't think so.
Same thing with your favorite player, Will Smith. Although I think Bochy trusts him, which is kind of just hilarious to me. But it's. And then Duran came in, which I was like, well, everyone could see that. It's gonna be Zeke. And he probably won't get it in bat.
No, I don't think so. Especially the way Jankowski was hitting the ball yesterday.
I think the part of it that plus he hasn't hit in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The part that I hate about it is now Adolis still in the IL, and he can't be out there. If we go up tonight, you'd love to put Adolis in right field. Hope that no one hits him when he has to throw the ball. And that way he could be on the field when we win. But he's not. And I think that's kind of something that really, really sucks. But he's still going to come pouring. Your oblique doesn't hurt when you win the World Series. You can do all that celebration. Same thing with Scherzer. Scherzer's going to be like, a crazy guy afterward. Because when you win, I can deal. It's the same logic of, well, why are they going to pitch this guy again? Well, your arm can heal in November and December when, the World Series is over. You have 2-3 months here to heal. You pitch. I don't care if your arm falls off.
But we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
We're not. I can taste the champagne.
We're close.
I'm not popping it yet, but I can taste.
We're
it.
close, but unfortunately, this is the World Series. The Diamondbacks are here for a reason.
Yeah,
you can never count them out. You know they're a good team.
They've been a resilient team.
Yes, and it's never over until we have 4 wins in that column.
Look, and as Rangers fans, we should be knowing this better than anybody. I think there are other teams that have been that close, but I can't think of other teams that were 1 strike away in separate innings.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, I know, obviously you can point to in 86, there were 16 pitches that the Red Sox could have ended the game on before they tied it, the Mets. But that was one time. And there was still a game 7, but we were 1 strike away in 2 separate innings.
Yeah.
2 separate at bat. We were 1 strike away twice. I can't think of an example where that's happened. And then that team lost. That's the important part. And we're hoping, obviously, we were up 7-4 with 6 outs to play. I think it was 7-5 with 3. And so no lead is safe. But you feel pretty good about going up 3-1 with Eovaldi going tonight, Monty going game 6, and what I would expect to be a John Gray, and maybe Nathan Eovaldi. You go out there and pitch 2 or 3 innings in relief in game 7. But I'm hoping it doesn't get that far.
No.
I'm hoping we end it tonight. The only part, and again, I think the only other sucky part about ending it tonight would be you don't win it in Texas.
Right.
You would like to win it in at your home. I think that would be just the coolest thing ever to win it in Arlington.
Of course. But that's not what you do.
But
you don't play like that.
I want to win it now.
You got to win it.
I'd rather win it now than lose it in Arlington, right? So but it's been a great series. Obviously game 1 was exhilarating.
Unreal. Yeah.
I mean, it was just Seager when he hit that ball, everybody knew. And Mr. Robot, Mr. No Emotion, the second he hit it's one of the greatest pictures I've ever seen.
Yeah,
He's
awesome.
Just screaming. And, me and my dad were screaming and hooping and hollering, and I was running around the house. And then when Adolis hit his home run, I hate to say this on camera. I mean, not on camera, on podcast, but I had checked we watch on Fubo. So we were a little bit behind, so he doesn't know this. He's going to listen to this and go, what? I checked my phone to check Twitter, and I just saw a notification, and I just saw Adolis Garcia, and I went, oh. I mean, I smiled, so I kind of sat with my hand over my mouth so he couldn't see, and then it was the next pitch. So then I had to pretend that I knew it didn't happen. But it was still as exhilarating as it was, even if I didn't know it happened, just because it was such a, go ball, because it didn't look like it was going to get there, and it just got right over the fence. And then game 2, what kind of felt like you'd wasted all your bullets in game 1, and you were just dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you just didn't have anything, and Merrill Kelly was just lights out.
Unreal.
You couldn't touch his stuff on the corners there. And then game 3 was, I mean, I feel like I was watching the game, from behind my hands. I mean, it was just, I had anxiety. I mean, I had to breathe when that game was over, just because we went up 3-0 and had to make that last.
Yeah.
Then that was definitely making me have a anxiety attack. And then last night was just so nice just to see go up 11-1 at one point and just be, you know what, this is a shoe-in, we got this game, and bullpen decided to make it interesting.
For sure.
Definitely show why that part of the bullpen doesn't get showcased as much. But tonight, I think the biggest thing is Spores and Chapman didn't pitch last night. You had to pitch Leclerc. We didn't really have to, but you did.
Yeah.
Now you have your 3 guys available tonight. And if they pitch tonight, you get an off day, they'll be available for game 6. So you feel good about your big 3 being able to come in. And I don't want to, again, act like we've won this thing. But if the Diamondbacks win it, I would probably say their World Series MVP is Ketel Marte. Would probably be my pick. For us, I really wish I could give it to John Gray. 2 games where that man has saved our butts twice. And, but it's probably
Corey Seager.
If we win tonight, it's going to be Corey Seager. Not complaining about that. That's going to be his 2nd World Series.
Don't worry,
MVP.
Seager saved us too, though.
Seager saved us too, and I'm not saying that Seager doesn't deserve it. It's just one of those man, I hope nobody forgets what John Gray did.
Oh no,
because twice he came in and was nails out of the bullpen. So I mean, looked like first half John Gray. So I don't want to forget his contributions. Everyone has contributed. That's the big. Heaney last night went 5 innings, 1 run ball. Everybody has contributed to this. Adolis had the big speech last night.
Yeah.
It sounds like that kind of galvanized the team. Jankowski came in, was 2 for 4 with some RBIs, and I mean, it's just everybody is contributing. It feels like the stars are aligning for us, and hopefully we can just end it tonight. Put them to bed. Don't give them a chance. And I think the biggest difference between our teams is not bullpen, it's not hitting, it's not anything else. I think the biggest difference, besides maybe that they've had some fielding miscues, a few, I think the biggest difference is that Troy Lovello is a fine manager.
Oh yeah,
and he deserves an extension, and he'll be back. And I could see them winning one in this window for them. But you can tell who the better manager is just by watching how the game's managed. It is very apparent that when Lovello makes a decision, it just feels like he just is making the wrong one. When Bochy makes a decision, it feels like he's making the right one. The exception last night was probably one of Bochy's worst managed games, only because you're not going to bring in Sports and Chapman in that game, so you're going to bring in your lower tier relief pitchers, and then it showed you why that they're not coming in high leverage situations.
Right.
But it feels like that Bochy has just made every decision right. And I think one of the more subtle ones is moving Garver up to the 3 and moving Carter back to the 4, not for hitting purposes almost, but for matchup purposes. Because now in our lineup, there's no pockets. You go from a righty and Simeon to lefty Seager to righty Garver to lefty Carter to Young is a righty at 5, Himes a switch.
Yep.
Then you have, I think, who's at the 7? I feel like an idiot right now.
I do too, and I don't know why.
Low. Yeah, they moved Low. Sorry, Nathaniel Lowe.
Low's been at 7.
He's been at 7.
It's just weird to think because Lowe was he's our 3 spot the whole year.
And he's a lefty. And then you have Tavares, who's a switch. And then you had Jankowski, who's a lefty. And then to Simeon, who's a righty.
Right.
So I think that for the Rangers not having those breaking up the pockets, because we know that the Diamondbacks love to play matchups, and not allowing them to play the matchups fully to their advantage was a very smart move. And I can't really prove that it paid off, but it definitely feels like it could have, because they were doing a bullpen game, and so you're going to get different looks. So break up the pockets. Don't let them have multiple lefty against 2 lefties here. Bochy looks like he's been here before. He just looks like
yes. Yeah.
And
I got to backtrack to what you were talking about game 1. You were talking about you were with your dad, right, watching the game.
Oh, I was.
I got to tell you a funny story, and shout out to my dad. He got invited by one of his best friends to go to the game.
Oh.
And he was there in game 1.
Oh.
I don't know if you know where this is heading, but you can probably make a guess. Crowd's dead.
Yeah.
Bottom of the 8th or top of the 9th. Nothing's happening. So they decided to beat the traffic, and it's rainy.
No.
And he left going after the top of the 9th.
Oh no. Why?
He's telling me on the phone, he's like, Chase, there were other people that were leaving. It was raining. Obviously there's gonna be bad traffic.
No.
And I was like, Dad, if Corey Seager is due up, guaranteed to come up, you can't leave.
No.
And then
I
call him, and he's at his friend's house who they went together, and he just parked his car at his house and went back. They were watching, and I was like, why did you leave?
This is okay.
And he's like, I don't know, but if that's what it took to win the game, I'll be okay with it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he left.
I'm gonna use that story when people. I have other stories, like again, the one I have always gone to why I don't ever leave the game early is me and my dad were at Darvish's last start in Texas.
Okay.
The Marlins drubbing was 22-10. We stayed, and we saw Beltre move the on deck circle. We would have missed it. We would have completely missed it. And so it was a great moment to see that. So you never leave a game early.
Yeah, especially
I
was telling him, I was like, it's the World Series. Like,
you paid money to be here.
Who knows if you'll ever be there again?
The thing I've always gone to is just that you can't say it's. I have bugged many of friends and family with this because they come on, Brady. I want to go. I don't want to stay. We're getting killed. I'm like, no. Someone paid money for, at least maybe it was me or someone else, for me to be here. I'm gonna stay. I'm getting my money's worth for the full game. I don't care how bad it is. I never leave a game early.
I think he sat right where Seager hit it too, like in that vicinity. They were right in the outfield, 20 rows behind Adolis.
Tell your dad that I am. If he's listening to this, I am sorry. Like that was.
Oh, he'll be listening.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, why? I mean, the World Series. I mean, when we got killed by the Astros in Game 3 of the LCS, I said I ain't leaving this. This is too. I'm having fun even though we're losing.
Yeah.
That was the most fun I've ever had at a loss. Anyway,
but yeah.
Hopefully, wow, what a. Well, hey, maybe it took him to leave for us to win.
It was like fine.
Who knows?
You
But
can use that excuse.
I'm happy that we did win, and I'm happy that we're winning right now, up 3-1. And a little tie-in here before we move on is Bruce Bochy was up 3-1 once in his career in 2010, and he was on the road, went up 3-1 to face a team, and they won that game. And they won it in 5. They won the World Series. It was his first, and the team he beat was the Texas Rangers.
I was at that game.
And it was 13 years ago, to the date today. He could repeat history with the team he beat 13 years ago. I just love the tie-in. So this has been a great run for the Rangers, and then part of me is, I kicked the metal thing here. Part of me can't wait for the off season just because it's less stressful. What are we gonna do? I mean, we're gonna do something. We had Simeon and Seager, then you had DeGrom and Evaldi and Heaney and Bochy and Mike Maddox, and can't forget Mike Maddox and all this. Man, what the hell are we gonna do this offseason? I mean, I feel like we're gonna be more in the trade market than free agent market because
depending on where you look at it, because Josh Hader being a free agent, you feel like you want to try and sign him.
Here's the thing about Hader: if you do not like Aroldis Chapman, you will hate Josh Hader. He is the same when he has his control. You're not touching him. When he doesn't have his control, he's gonna give. It's one of those people where I want Josh Hader. Well, first of all, I don't like the fact that he practically quit on the Padres and said, I'm not pitching 2 innings because free agency and we're out of it. And I don't like the fact that it was one reason why I was worried about Chapman. He felt like he quit on his team, but see, Chapman got punished for quitting on his team. He had to go play in Kansas City for the first couple months of the season. So he got punished for it. Hader needs the punishment for quitting on his team. And I just don't know. You know what I mean?
I'll settle for David Bednar.
I've looked at the free agent market for that, and I think the biggest name that I would love to bring in is Hector Neris. I would love to bring in Hector Neris. He has pitched in the postseason. He didn't have a good one this year. That was fine. He was facing us. Yeah. So I was okay with him not having a good one. And there were a couple other guys that I'm like, I wouldn't mind bringing him in. But I think what my Rangers fans need to understand is that we're not going to get a whole new bullpen next year. I mean, I could definitely see the majority of the guys next year's bullpen being guys that were here this year. I mean, you look at Leclerc's going to be back. My God, if they don't at least pick up his option, I could see him getting an extension, though. I'd want to bring back Chapman, obviously Spores, and then who else are we talking about here? I mean, I think that Jonathan Hernandez would be in next year's bullpen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He pitched well down the stretch after maybe figuring some control out. Grant Anderson had his moments. I think other big ones, Mark Church is pitching in the minor league, so is Chase Lee. They may be ready next year. That could be interesting. And there's a couple other guys maybe in your minor league system. I would love to bring back Matt Bush, just because I like Matt Bush. I think he's a really good pitcher. Burke could be back next year. Stratton could be back next year. I mean, you could be looking at largely the same bullpen.
Yeah,
that's.
Rangers, I won't be shocked, but there needs to be one or two guys.
I'm looking for at least 1 or 2 additions. Let's bring in a guy like Neris, and maybe you trade for another guy or something like that. Just because relief pitching is very volatile. One year you are the best bullpen in the league. The next year you're not. At one point Edwin Diaz, there were talks about him getting released from the Mets because he was having such an awful season.
And then he goes to the best closer in baseball. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to the best closer in baseball.
And he becomes the best closer. Yeah, he becomes the best. Becomes the $100 million closer. So relief pitching is very, very volatile, very weird, very year to year. So next year, bring back the same group, and they're nails. You just don't know.
Are there any starting additions you want? Pitching? We'll go to hitting next, but are there any starting pitching that you think?
Even without Montgomery, which that would be the number one thing I'd want to do. Let's bring him back.
Got to bring back Montgomery.
Let's say you don't bring back Montgomery. Next year, you're still looking at, without injuries in spring training, at least right now on your roster, you'll have Evaldi, you will have Scherzer. I'm like, I don't know why I was blanking there. Scherzer, Dunning, and Gray. There's your 4.
DeGrom will be back after All-Star break.
DeGrom back after All-Star break. So if you want to bring back Heaney, there's an option. If you want to bring Cody Bradford up to the rotation, maybe you want to bring Owen White. Maybe it's his time to break into the major leagues. Maybe something like that. If you're going to sign an external pitcher, I think the number one guy I would want is the guy from Japan. Because I don't think he would, when I say, break the bank as much as someone like Aaron Nola, who would be really fun to bring in.
I was going to say, I'd love to bring in Nola.
the problem is that now you have to realize, well, we're not an unlimited money supply. We're pushing almost $200 million. You're probably gonna have about $30 to $40 million to play with. I don't know what the luxury tax was this year, but you're probably not going to get any more of the big names. But you look at some of these starting pitchers. I mean, I would not mind bringing in Sonny Gray. And after Sonny Gray, I mean, I don't want to operate at the top of the market. I don't want to bring in Snell or Nola or one of those guys. I just think that would be just too, like, nah, like that.
Wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, that's just too much. That's just too much. I'm trying to. What's the guy's name? You know, I saw a picture of it, and hold on, but I think that I would want to get this guy when I find his name.
Right.
But who's the names that you're looking at?
I mean, Nola was definitely, on my radar for sure. And when it comes to starting pitching, bullpen, I said guys like David Bednar, you could always, talk about Josh Hader, which, bullpen's more necessity, and that will happen. We don't know who, but something will happen. And then going off hitting, I think another guy, to bring in that would fit. I know it's a long shot, but Cody Bellinger.
Everyone wants Bellinger.
Of course, I know it's a long shot. I never said it's going to happen. But Bellinger would be awesome, not only for the talent that he has, but to give guys. He's versatile. He could play first. He can give Lowe some DH games. You don't need a platoon Lowe because he can hit lefties, but you can give Bellinger. That DH role, that first base role, that outfield role, give other guys like, Garcia, Lowe some time off or in the DH spot. So I could see us pursuing him, and I'll tell you what, I would not be mad. I would not be mad.
Here he is. It's and if I butcher this, I'm so sorry. But it looks easy enough. It's oh wow. Am I struggling? Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Oh yeah.
This guy, 25 years old. This season, so this was this season, 17-6 with a 1.16 ERA,
Ooh.
176 strikeouts in 171 innings. He struggled in the postseason, really bad in the postseason, actually. But I mean, this guy, 25 years old. I mean, and here's what he throws. Receives, this is quoting from a CBS Sports article here. Yamamoto receives high marks for his command over a varied arsenal. He throws a mid-90s fastball about half the time with an upper 80s splitter. Most guys from Japan seem with those splitters, serving as his main secondary pitch. He also worked in a mid-70s curveball and a low 90s cutter. Each of those pitches has gone for a strike more than 65% of the time this season. Nodding at his above-average geography, Yamamoto's splitter is his best pitch when it comes to generating chases and whiffs. He's listed at just 5'10". These days, that could work. His advantages teams have warmed up to the vertical approach angle concept. So, I mean, this guy, he's going to command a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I'd be very intrigued at bringing him in and seeing what he can do. There's always a concern with Japanese players. How is their game going to translate here? Some guys are like Shohei, and it takes them a little while, but they get acclimated. Some guys like Darvish, where they step in year one, and they're a game breaker.
Not to mention Ohtani's another guy you could go after.
No. Everyone, I want to just say this on the podcast. If we sign Shohei Ohtani, first of all, I'd probably cry, tears of joy, but it's not going to happen because that would push you over the luxury tax. I think the biggest thing that we need to do besides Montgomery is give Adolis and Nathaniel extensions now before they win anything else. Adolis could win a Gold Glove this year, and you don't want him to win anything else. And the ALCS MVP. It's gonna be a big extension. He's gonna want a lot of money, and I think that it's hopefully we can get those guys to be a little reasonable. Hopefully they're not wanting the top of the market, and we can say, look, we want to bring in other guys. Would you be willing to take a little bit less? So we can bring in other players to help this team. I trust Chris Young to be able to sell them on. But we will see what the Rangers do in the off season. And then looking at other stuff in baseball, we'll get to more of the managerial openings and everything next week. And then we get to that. But for right now, the big one, Bob Melvin to the Giants, obviously very reminiscent of Bruce Bochy going to the Giants, coming from the Padres, getting permission to seek a job with the Giants and it working out. So maybe the Giants are hoping it works out the same way. I don't know how Farhan Saidi is going to work with Melvin because Melvin's a little more of that old school. You give me the players, I manage them, and I think Zaidi is kind of one of those. I want the analytics based. I'm a nerd. I want all the numbers, and we'll see how it all works out. But he's a hell of a manager.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel
Giants are trying to continue a trend that started.
And I feel like
years ago
with San Diego, it was a matter of AJ Preller's just kind of a cult of personality, and kind of has problems with just being him. He can acquire the best players, and he's very good at all of that, but he just doesn't know how to. It sounds like he doesn't know how to manage an organization, which is unfortunate. And now we're going to move. I mean, there's just for the Rangers, and once we get past the Rangers, we'll be moving into Hall of Fame. Me and you may have some steroid era. You'll be getting to see how I feel about all the Hall of Fame stuff, and I may go on some rants about why Bonds and Clemens are not in the Hall of Fame when they should be, and a couple other guys like Sosa and McGuire that should all be in the Hall of Fame.
Rangers lineup just got released.
Rangers lineup just got released. Let's.
There's a little differences. Okay. Okay.
Well, it hasn't been released on my phone yet.
Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Evan Carter back to the 3 spot.
Okay.
For Zach Gallen, Mitch Garver in the cleanup, Josh Young, Nathaniel Lowe moves up to 6. Jonah Heim, Leody Taveras, Travis Jankowski with big game Nate on the mound.
That's fun.
Same names, different orders.
That's a hell of a lineup right there. I like that Leody Jankowski at the bottom. It gives you some speed, kind of play what the Diamondbacks play. But once we get past the Rangers, we'll be talking about some Hall of Fame stuff. And actually, that was one of the things I did want to mention before we move on, is that so the Veterans Committee did release their ballot for this year. And for those that don't know what the Veterans Committee is, they're the people that help put in Hall of Famers that maybe were, glossed over from that's not it, from previous years. They also are good at they help put managers in and executives, and I'm trying to find where it is, and I'm just gonna search for one of the guys that was on there. I remember most of the people that were on there, but I am going to read off the names, and I do want to. I'm trying to find the article that was from Trade Rumors, but we'll just do this. Here it is. The other finalists. So here was the list of finalists. And it was no players this year. It was all
Joe West.
So it was ex-Mets, and I know his other notable teams. He managed the Nationals. He managed some other really good teams in the 90s, but it's Davey Johnson, best known for the 86 Mets World Championship team. Manager Cito Gaston, who was manager for those great back-to-back Blue Jays teams, the first African-American manager to win a World Series. The great Jim Leland, who was obviously the manager for the Marlins in 97 when they won. They tore it down. Then he went to Colorado and was kind of poo there because he was a pitcher's manager, and you can't be a pitcher's manager in Colorado. And then he went to Detroit and kind of did a Bruce Bochy and led Detroit for a long time and was very, very good there. Obviously, he had the Pirates before he went to Miami and was very good. Had those really good Pirates teams: Doug Drabeck, Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla, Andy Van Slyke, some really good teams. And then Lou Piniella, best known for his rants and his blow-ups on umpires, but a really good manager. Obviously managed the Mariners, managed the 1990 Reds. He won a World Series, so all of them have World Series championships. Umpires Ed Montague, and of course the great Joe West. Hard for me to judge umpires and their contributions. Joe West should probably go in the Hall of Fame just for his notableness, but we will see. And executives Hank Peters and Bill White. Peters, I think, helped build some of the teams. I think he helped build like the Orioles in the late 70s, early 80s. He helped after, I'm going to forget his name. The guy that helped build the Mets, Frank Cashin. Thank you, Brain. I was struggling there for a second. Helped build some of the 90s Indians teams, but he was kind of one of those guys that would help lay the John Daniels, laid the groundwork and then would get booted.
Right.
And then Bill White, who was a man that's done it all. He was a broadcaster. He was, I think, president of the National League. He was an executive. he did a little bit of everything in the game. Was a player, did other things with the Players Union. He just did a little bit of everything for baseball. And so I believe you get 4 votes. You get 4 people. And this would be my vote. I would give it to Davey Johnson, Jim Leland, Lou Piniella, and Bill White. Leland was such a great manager for so many years. I am a little partial to Johnson because of the 86 Mets. I loved 86 Mets. Such an interesting, my favorite non-Ranger team of all time to look at and study. Not saying Cito Gaston doesn't deserve it, but he didn't have a ton of success outside of his 2 World Series championship years. Davey Johnson had a lot of success with multiple teams. Jim Leland had a lot of success with multiple teams. Lou Piniella had a lot of success with multiple teams. And again, I'm not knocking Cito Gaston. I mean, he was a great manager, and I could see him going to the Hall of Fame. But I think another thing, he just did not have a ton of success outside of these years of the Blue Jays. I mean, you can see, I'm showing Chase right now, back-to-back 96, 95 win teams, and then other than that, his highest total was 86 in 1990, and that was it. I mean, he just was not a manager for that long. And when you look at other guys like Davey Johnson, people forget that he managed for so long, managed the Mets to 200-win seasons, then went to the Reds after Piniella and was kind of meh. Then the Orioles and had some really 2 good years with them, years with the Dodgers, and then kick-started the Nationals in the early 2010s. So had a lot of success with multiple teams. And over 1,300 wins, definitely to me has the ring. I think
For sure.
a Hall of Famer. And then this one is always the fun one to look at because he just managed for so long. Jim Leland. Jim Leyritz, that's a fun name. Managed, 1,700 wins, some amazing years with the Pirates, built those teams. 3 straight 90-win years. Then the rebuild, and then went to the Marlins, had an amazing year, and then the rebuild. Went to the Rockies for a year and just did not like it because of the kind of baseball that's played in Colorado. Went to Detroit, oversaw 3 90-win campaigns, 2 pennants. Definitely to me, with World Series, Hall of Fame. Have World Series on the brain right now, everybody. To me, if you didn't get to look at it there, Hall of Fame manager.
Yeah.
And then I think Lou Piniella, see if I can get it up here. Lou Piniella, a lot of success with, I forget he managed the Yankees before the Reds. Was decent with the Yankees. Then goes to the Reds. Wins the World Series with that team. A great team. The Nasty Boys, Dibble, Charlton, and Myers. Great bullpen. Goes to Seattle. Builds it in Seattle. Obviously, they have their years where they get to the playoffs. They helped, and obviously the most wins in a season, 116. Goes to Tampa Bay. Was very meh. Goes to Chicago. Was okay in Chicago. He's really best known for the Mariners and the Reds. He's probably the weaker he has more wins than the other 2 guys, but not as many winning seasons. But I still think he's a Hall of Fame manager. And so I think that, he's cousins with Dave Magid. I didn't know that. Sorry. And then Bill White is a man that has just done a little bit of everything in baseball history. And I'm going to look him up because, again, I don't know everything that he has done. But he was a player. He was a broadcaster, National League president. And then
definitely sounds like a guy who's deserving.
He was a sportscaster. He just did a little. He was a broadcasting career player. Did a lot for the game of baseball that maybe someone didn't always see, but did a lot for the game of baseball. So I think he deserves to go in the Hall of Fame. So that would be what I would say.
Yeah.
Moving on to football now. Last one. Me and you had an interesting week. You added to your lead by 1, I believe, this week. Going by game here. Buccaneers, Bills. Both took the Bills. Bills definitely scared us a little bit there, but pulled that win out. Rams at Cowboys. And we'll get to the Rams-Cowboys here after this is.
Yeah.
We recap the week. Cowboys won in beautiful fashion. Patriots at Dolphins. We both took the Dolphins. We're right there. Both took the Jets. We're right there. Although the Jets, man, they are 1 quarterback away.
Oof.
They are 1 quarterback away. They really, really are. Our first disagreement, Jags-Steelers. I prevailed, picking the Jags over the Steelers. Falcons at Titans. We both were wrong there. Titans got that one. Texans at Panthers. I give you your props on this one. You said they were due. And they were. They won. I picked the Texans, and I was wrong there. I was also wrong. I keep rolling with the Packers, and they keep disappointing me. We'll see. But Vikings, and the Packers.
Yeah.
Got that one right for you. Saints at Colts. We were both correct there. Eagles at Commanders. We were both right there. I got you on Browns Seahawks. I picked the Seahawks. We were both right on Ravens Cardinals. Both picked the Ravens. We both got burned on the Chiefs and Broncos. Bengals Niners. We were both right. Picked the Bengals. What a pick I think we had there. Bears at Chargers. I rolled with the Bears because of the story that I told, and I would need to go find that guy and tell him that he was wrong.
I told you that. You please be my guest and go with the Bears. Be my guest.
And I was wrong. I was wrong there. So we'll see what happens. But Raiders at Lions, both were right. So I went 11-5. Chase goes 12-4, and we'll move on. So Cowboys at Rams. What a game that was!
Beautiful fashion. Both sides of the ball.
All three
sides. Rams and Aubrey is money.
Javonte Turpin had some runbacks.
Yeah.
Dak had his best game of the year after having his best game of the year against the Chargers. There was just nothing you could say that was bad about Dak. We threw an interception. Yeah, it was tipped.
Yeah.
Twice. It was tipped twice. You can't. There is no logical explanation. There's no logical reasoning skills you can use to say that was Dak's fault.
No.
He put it a little bit high, but
it was a little traffic.
But it got tipped at the line.
Yeah.
What do you want Dak to do there? Phase the ball through the guy's hand? I mean, it just sometimes you can't please the Dak haters.
But besides the point, Dak played fantastic. He was unbelievable.
And you didn't. I was happy that McCarthy didn't. Well, let's run the ball now and piss this game away. Nope. McCarthy stayed to passing the ball, and it worked. Brandon Cooks is coming on now. Yep. I mean, this is an offense that's rolling. We're clicking. It's nice. Hopefully, Tyron will be back at left tackle. Against the Eagles. It doesn't sound like that Chuma will be out for very long. I don't know what the injury was, but it sounds like it wasn't as serious.
Hopefully Tyron will be good to go next week.
Yeah, and Richards played pretty well. Austin Richards, I liked him out of North Carolina, just wasn't really sure. I mean, he looked pretty good.
I actually noticed the Mozzie sighting for one of the first times this year.
Mozzie is starting to put it together. The problem that Mozzie's facing right now is that he's such a strong dude. He's so good at getting the block sheds. He's very good at point of he's very good at point of contact. His problem seems to be fighting those double teams, and when the guy gets the first punch. When he gets the first punch, he wins. When the other guy gets the first punch, he's losing. So we will see Mozzie's. Sometimes it takes nose tackles a little while to get going in the league. He may be a 2 or 3 year guy where you're 3 years we're saying, oh wow, he's really come on as one of the best nose D tackles in the game.
But I like what I saw.
I like what I saw. He's progressing. Bland is basically just Trevon Diggs early in his career.
Bland has more touchdowns than some quarterbacks right now.
Can you imagine next season? And I'm hoping that Trevon comes back healthy. Please. Oh, God, please. Both of those guys will be out there. That's two. That's those two guys will be out there. And then, I wouldn't mind bringing back Gilmore. I wouldn't. There's some guys.
Of course.
It'll be interesting to see if Jalen Johnson is a free agent. Maybe you want to go get him and kick Bland back into the Bland back into the slot. I got the O and the A mixed up there, but I thought it was a really good game from the Cowboys. I was very pleased with what I saw heading into the big week this week. So, heading into this week, here we go: Titans, Steelers, Thursday Night Football. Who do you want to go?
I'm going to go with the Titans. I like what I saw from Will Levis.
I did too. Yeah, I like it. So, Cowboys at Eagles. This is the it's the big one. We're going to preview it now. I'm not going to wait. Man, this is the big one. This is. I mean, there's no other way to say it. This is. And last year we didn't get to see this because Dak was hurt the first time.
Yeah.
And then Hurts was hurt the second time.
Right.
So we have not. And there's not a ton of injuries on both sides. Yes, we're missing Diggs, but that's about it for us. And so everyone is pretty much fully healthy, and it is going to be a heavyweight matchup for the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Eagles are the best team in the league right now, but I just don't feel like they're playing like it. It feels like in every game they want their opponent to win, but they just have too much talent to lose.
Right.
And then that's what I feel like the Eagles are playing like. So if we can take advantage of that, we can win this game easily. And this will be such a highly scrutinized game because Hurts has been playing like kind of crap. Turn the ball over. He's playing like Dak. You win games, but you're turning the ball over. It gives you anxiety. And Dak is playing like Hurts did last year, keeping the ball pretty safe, some fluky stuff, and we're winning ball games. As long as you don't play like you did against the Niners, you'll be fine. This will be a game because if we beat the Eagles and Dak outplays Hurts, I don't want to hear Joy Taylor, who, by the way, me and you could do her job. We should be doing her job. LaShawn McCoy, all those guys except for Emmanuel Acho, I truly believe we could do a better job. Most of the guys at FS1, I think we could do a better job than Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, that Stews that Cowherd has next to him that doesn't know anything about sports.
Yeah.
I'm throwing shade. I don't like him. It's just not. It's Colin Cowherd's the guy that they should trade Ohtani for draft picks, not knowing you can't trade draft picks in baseball, moron. So anyway, I digress. All of the Hurts truthers can't say jack crap if Dak outplays him. What are you gonna say? Well, Hurts has been to the Super Bowl. Congratulations, but that was last year. This is this year. You didn't win that Super Bowl. So.
With all that being said, who you got for the game?
Well, this is where it gets fun. I'm gonna have my confidence. I mean, the Eagles are a good team, man. Their talent is just, and they play physical. That offensive line, Hurts is a really good quarterback. That defensive line is just, I don't want to face it. I'm worried what they're gonna do to us. I mean, the Rams were having a pretty good day against us. I mean, if the Rams, and they have Aaron Donald, but still, like, Eagles have 4 or 5 dudes that are amazing.
The way the Rams played is that they forced Dak to beat them, and Dak came through.
Dak beat them.
Now, with the Eagle situation, they're going to do the same thing. They are going to force Dak to beat them.
And I think that that's the wrong move. I actually think that what the Eagles should be doing, their secondary has been given a lot of problems this year.
Right.
What I'd be doing is I would be lightening the box, and I would allow my defensive linemen and trust that they're going to stop the run. Because if you watch our team, man, our scheme is awful running the ball. I can't give you what the solution is or what the exact problem is, but I can just tell you something's off when we run the football. It's just not the same. So, something is off. And I don't know if it's a scheme issue, I don't know if it's coaching, I don't know if it's players.
Is it Pollard not being able to handle that number one role?
I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting to try and deep dive that. And I probably will do it a little more deep dive when the Rangers aren't playing. Again, the Rangers are taking up a lot of time right now. If I was the Eagles, I'd play back, let my defensive linemen and 1 linebacker, 2 linebackers take care of it. I don't need to stack the box. I need to worry about Cooks and Lamb and Gallup and those guys, Ferguson. If they do stack the box and if they blitz, man, McCarthy's gonna have a field day. McCarthy's gonna dink and the dink and Dak offense, and we're gonna pass all over him. So I'm going the Cowboys, even though the Eagles are that good, even though they're this and that. I'm going the Cowboys. Chase, you have the floor.
All right, so I am gonna take the Cowboys right now.
Okay,
I'm going with them. It's not a homer pick. It is.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a homer pick. I don't like the Eagles. I love the Cowboys. They're my team. But it's not what I'm not basing it off of like how I did for the 49ers, where I was like, you know what, I'll take the Cowboys because like I love them and I want them to win. But no, I think the Cowboys are going to come through. I think we are going to backpack off of what we had the last, 3 weeks, even going into the bye week, working, having a great game versus the Chargers, going in that bye, coming out of that bye and really showing some dominance against the Rams. And I think that'll carry over. I think, as you said, the Eagles, secondary has been struggling.
Yes.
If their front 7, can't come through, I think we got this one. I do. I think it's a little different than the Niners game. I think now if we play the Niners right now, I think it'd be a different game. But, the Eagles are going to be like the 49ers. They're going to have some tricky play calls that Dan Quinn's going to have to adjust to, and we're going to have to be ready for that because that's what beats us. When the offenses do things that a lot of offenses don't do, it messes with us. It's been a trend for years with the Cowboys.
Right.
They're not used to seeing that trickery, which is weird. It's like, well, these teams do it, so be ready for it.
Right.
But I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I am. I'm confident.
Right. And I think that, it's not a homer pick. We're both very confident in the Cowboys' ability to win this football game.
It's no shame at the Eagles. The Eagles are a fantastic team, and I would say that they are the best team in football right now.
Right now, but I think if we beat them, that just proves everybody that look.
There's no
Broncos just beat the Chiefs.
If we can beat the Eagles, there are no true number 1 contender. Who is the number 1 pick?
And to pivot for a second to this, and this is why it pissed me off so much that we did nothing at the deadline. And you know what? I'm going to disagree with myself there for a second. Not that we didn't do anything. Other teams didn't do anything. That's fine. You don't have to do something. The problem that I had was the Cowboys were looked around, and every other NFC team, the Lions, you had the Seahawks, you had the Eagles made a deal. You had, I mean, who else am I missing?
The 49ers getting Chase Young for a third-round pick.
Thank you.
A third-round
Chase
pick.
Young. The other NFC teams realize everyone else is as good as us.
Yeah.
We need to get better. And the Cowboys looked around and said, nah, we're good. Nah, we can win with this. The same, and I'm not going to cuss, but I really want to, the same freaking thing that we've been doing the past several years at the trade deadline. Except, I mean, last year, yeah, you went out and got Jonathan Hankins. Okay, that was a good addition. But that you made one, that was usually what the Cowboys do, one small addition, and we'll call it a day. I think the last big one was Amari Cooper. And look how it turned out. You made the playoffs. You won a playoff game that year. You can't say, well, just Jerry saying, we have a good group of guys. I don't care. You need a great group of guys, not a good group of guys. Well, we believe that we have, I bet you do believe you have the team that can win it.
And we do.
We do. The point is you're supposed to think we have the team to do it. So why don't you add to that team? Why don't you say, hey, we're really, really great. Let's be even better. What a revolutionary idea, Jerry. You did it in the 90s. You saw you were good. You kept adding. You added Dion. You kept adding people. Now you're doing a different strategy. You're going, well, no. We can win and be okay. And the Cowboy strategy is a good strategy, I think, for fans in some regard, because the strategy the Cowboys have is that we're going to be competitive every year and hope we get into a championship and win one. That's a decent way to build a team if you're going for season-to-season contention. If you notice, the Cowboys, rarely have we been an out-of-contention team. Rarely. At least even since the 90s, right? There have been those years between the Aikman and Romo years. There were some lean years in there. From Romo now to Dak, there have been very, very few seasons where we were out of it. 2020 and 2015 are the two biggest years that come to mind, and that was because your quarterback got hurt.
Right.
The way the Cowboys build is we're going to hold on to our draft capital and add that way and try to make smart free agent moves, not big ones, and hope we luck into some good players, which sometimes happens, and sometimes you get Dontari Poe, sometimes you get sometimes you get Jaron Curse. That's the game they play. And it's, again, a great strategy because my team's never out of it. My team, every year, I'm confident that we can win something. But it's not the true way to win a Super Bowl. The Rams, yeah, they're kind of screwed right now roster-wise. They won one. You think they're mad about it? You think they're sad right now? I'm sure Rams fans don't like watching the football that's being played because it's a what have you done for me lately? But they have a ring. They can look back and say, well, we won one. We went all in. The poor Saints have nothing. They went all in and got jack squat.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys have the team to go all in, and they refuse. Year in and year out, they refuse to make the necessary moves. Well, we got Cooks and Gilmore in the offseason. That's great. You should be doing that anyway, then going and getting more players at the deadline. And I'm not saying they should have got Derrick Henry or Chase Young or anyone humongously notable, but I thought call up the Titans and ask, what do you want for Jeffrey Simmons? What do you want for, get a couple guys, get somebody, go get a corner. Jalen Johnson wants out, and he doesn't want top of the market money. Go get him. Could you imagine that team being able to rotate those guys? Now you can have Jalen Johnson and Gilmore on the outside and put Bland back in the inside. Not that Bland's done a bad job, but it allows, and Jordan Lewis can come in on special packages. I mean,
we're playing like we're not going to have an injury.
Yeah, that's you. Well, we got Gilmore, so that if one of our guys got hurt, he could step up. Cool, that happened. What happens if Gilmore gets hurt? He's getting older. What happens if Bland gets hurt? What happens if Jordan Lewis gets hurt? We're looking at Noah Igbenogany, Eric Scott Jr., or freaking Nashawn Wright in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a fun thought. Now, at receiver, you can handle some injuries.
Yeah.
But it's mind-boggling to me. Ezra Cleveland got dealt. Was an offensive lineman for a 6th-round pick. I'd have given up a 5th. You couldn't go get that. That's what pisses me off, is that if they had said last year, at least we knew they're trying to get Brandon Cooks, and I didn't want to give up the 2nd-round pick, and I thought they made the smart move to wait. They were smart there, but at least we knew they were trying for something. This year, we knew going into trade deadline day. Well, they've already said they're not going to do anything. So if they do something, then they were lying and trying to use the media. If they don't do anything, they're idiots who said, well, we're not going to, and made us all mad. I just don't like the approach to the deadline. Well, we feel we have the team right now to win. Well, clearly other teams that have beaten you and are as good as you, they don't think they're good enough. So how can you think you're good? The Niners didn't think they're good enough. The Niners kicked your blank on national television, and they went out and got Chase Young. So what are you doing to add at the deadline? Nothing? You think that you can now? You think you couldn't beat them before? Imagine Nick Bosa and Gregory and Chase Young coming at you, and then, I mean, I can't be the only Cowboys fan here that's feeling like this. Like, you refuse to do. If they had come out, they lie. Well, we tried to go get somebody, and they wanted too high of a price. Lie to us. Make us think you tried. You just said, well, we don't even want to try. We're not even gonna pick up the phone. I don't understand that mentality. If I'm trying to win a Super Bowl, I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna call every other team. I'm gonna call the Niners. I'm calling the Eagles. I'm calling everybody. Who on your team is eligible to be traded? I'd call the Giants. Leonard Williams. What would it take? Imagine him on that. Woo, that'd be fun. But no, let's just sit on our hands and watch as every other team that we're gonna probably be facing in the playoffs as they get better in areas that areas that they needed it. And now you're going to face them in the playoffs and hope and pray that you can that the team that you like so much. And so now I'm like, well, this season's going to be fun, but hopefully we don't get injured, because if we get injured, we're really screwed. But right now, I feel we're at a competitive disadvantage to the Niners and the Eagles. And I feel I could argue,
the Lions.
The Lions, maybe. The Seahawks got better. This Seahawks team, man, could be really fun in another year or two of building. It boggles my mind. They try to spin the media. Well, we don't have the cap space. Get a rental. Get somebody. It just, It just bothers me. If you can't tell by my little rant there. So
well
now,
said. Thank
you. So now we're going to move to the rest of the games here. Dolphins at Chiefs. This is a big matchup right here. I mean, that's. I'm going to say that What are you going to say? I want to see what you have to say. I don't know. How the Chiefs going to respond after that game against the Broncos? How the Dolphins? I'm going to go Miami. I think that's going to be my pick.
I think they do respond.
You think they do respond?
I think they do. But no, I didn't say that.
Oh, well, okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I just think they respond.
So
not respond in the winning fashion, maybe.
So
I think they respond and make it a competitive game where they have the opportunity to win the game.
So who are you going?
But I'm never going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs.
The Chiefs. I just scratched it out.
Well,
Chase.
I wanted you to write twice.
Well, thank you. Waste my ink. Seahawks at Ravens. I'm gonna go Seahawks. It sounds a little bit of an out there pick, but I'm gonna go.
I got to mention real quickly some great matchups this week.
There are, and I'm hoping that. I think these are from the 12:00 matchup. So our team's at 3, so we're good.
I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Ravens. All right, gonna disagree there. Cardinals at Browns. They just traded away Dobbs. Murray's back. I don't like.
I don't think Murray's starting. I think Tune's starting.
I'm gonna take Browns in this game.
I'm going Browns.
Browns, yeah. Bucks at Texans. Give me the Texans. Again, I've said it before. I like this Texans team. I could see them sneaking into the playoffs at this point. Now, that sounds crazy, but I'm just saying I could see it.
Yeah, give me the Texans.
All right. Bears at Saints. Give me the Aints. Give me the Saints. I don't the Bears. No. I swear if they pick today or Sunday to be like, oh, we're gonna do, I swear I'm gonna be pissed.
Give me the Saints.
Give me the Saints. All right. Well, at least we'll be wrong together on that one. Vikings, not going to have. I mean, how much can Dobbs do? Is he even going to play? Is he going to know the playbook enough? Give me Atlanta in this game. I think the Vikings are just in dysfunction.
I don't even know if Dobbs is going to start.
That's what I'm saying. Is does he know the playbook well enough to play? Quarterback, other positions you can get by.
Jaron Hall.
Oh God, Jaron Hall. Whew.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
Okay.
I think they're just a more talented roster.
Okay.
I think
even without Jefferson and Cousins and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they are. Heineke's getting his first start, so who knows how that'll be.
Here's a big one: Rams at Packers, and I am going to go with the Packers.
Just got a report saying that Matthew Stafford did not practice today.
Who?
Matthew Stafford did not practice today.
I'm going the Packers. At Lambeau at home. Give me the Pack.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers.
I'll be right here eventually.
If Stafford plays, I'm taking
Commanders at Patriots. I mean, the Commanders look pretty good, but they've traded away 2 off defensive linemen. I think their team is going to be just very very dissonant, very just.
That offense is rolling though.
Give me the Patriots. I'm picking New England here.
That offense is rolling, but Belichick knows how to shut it down. So give me the Patriots.
Patriots, all right. Colts at Panthers, big matchup. I think it would have been if Richardson was healthy.
Yeah.
Give me the Panthers rolling. Give me a Panthers 2 wins in a row for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll roll with you on that. I'll roll with you.
Giants at Raiders. Raiders are just dysfunction. Give me the Giants.
I'm going to take the Raiders, though.
Raiders, all right. Bills at Bengals. Sunday Night Football. This is a big one right here.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
no other incidents happen
no other
like last year.
I wanted to mention it and be very nice.
I'll do it for you. Yeah.
Thank you, Chase.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get out of this one and obviously a very sad situation. We're happy that he's back.
Yes.
He's playing again, but very sad. Hopefully this doesn't go like the last time the Bengals and the Bills play each other in a national television game. That was Monday Night Football, but still. Give me the Bengals. They're rolling. Bills barely beat a Bucks team. Give me the Bengals.
I'm going Bengals.
And then Chargers, Jets. Give me the Chargers. Although I would not be surprised if the Jets pulled that one out.
I won't be either, but I'm going to take the Chargers as a safer pick. A lot of agreements.
So there's our picks. We made them, ladies and gentlemen. We will be talking to you next week. Hopefully with Zach Babb with us, talk some stars.
And hopefully with the Rangers' first ever franchise
and
championship. World Series.
I'm telling you the guys like this right now. I cannot believe that we have the ability to say that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a story here real quick before we end it. Vin Scully talked about, he was the broadcaster for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and he had the ability. He was the first one. He had the ability to be the first one on national. I think he was on the television broadcast to say, ladies and gentlemen, it was the radio broadcast. One of the 2 broadcasts, he was the first one that was able to say, ladies and gentlemen, the Brooklyn Dodgers are the World Series champions. They never won. And someone was like, how could you be so calm? And he joked, well, I couldn't say anything else or I'd have been screaming into the mic with happiness. So I feel kind of like that. Like, man, we get to sit on here and say the Rangers could be World Series champions next week. And,
could is a very strong word.
And talking about how this is the greatest team in the history of the Rangers, and this is the greatest team. This is awesome. And wow, what are we going to do in the off season? And I mean, I'm starting to feel it now. I think so because the closer we get to first pitch, I'm going to be feeling it. So, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy tonight. Hopefully we don't have to play again. And we can get more Cowboys Mavs stars oriented. Now we get in the fall because it's the first day of November. It is November. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, talk to you next week.
Have a good one.